Oh, hi YouTube. Didn't see you there. You know how people always say, oh, this movie encapsulates this time of year perfectly, or this song feels like springtime? Well, I'm in love with this idea. It's perfect romanticization for every time of the year. So I thought I'd run through all of the movies, games, songs, and shows I watch, play, and or listen to during the year. Swoosh! January! January is the month of beginnings and endings, so it only seems right that Doctor Who would fill this place.
Doctor Who is a long show, so every episode is largely disconnected from each other. But one thing that the show does have running through all its wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey mess is the reminder that things will eventually end, but new beginnings will always come from those endings. See, our old pal the Doc is an alien called a Time Lord. Time Lords have this neat little trick. When they're about to die, they can regenerate every cell in their body, becoming a completely new person. They can come back swapping genders, races, even ages, which can make things a tad confusing. Like, have fun guessing which one of these guys is older. Spoiler alert, it's this guy. The Doctor changing actors gives the show a breath of fresh air, with the new personality of this new Doctor, and the little charms and nuances the actor gives them too. With most shows, when the lead actor leaves, it's practically a death sentence, but for a show like Doctor Who, which is practically a universal constant at this point, the lead changing is built into the structure of the show. There's always a reminder that this character you love so much will one day change into someone completely different, but that change won't make things unrecognizable. Or you could just watch the last episode with Matt Smith because he summarizes that perfectly.
And I am in no way suggesting you watch all 13 seasons in a month. You might just go insane. You didn't even want to see the people who have watched all 26 seasons of the classic series. February, month of lovey-dovey romantic stuff, so you'd think I'd pick something along those lines, but nah, kinda makes me sick, honestly. My pick for February is Celeste. Romance, ew. I'd rather be playing indie platform games.
It's about this girl named Madeline who suffers from depression and anxiety. She comes across this weird mirror in this weird cave that personifies that dark side of herself. The fandom dubbed her Badeline, and I will thank them forever for it because it's cute as hell. Madeline's determination to climb the mountain is challenged the whole way by Badeline bringing her down at every turn. It's important to note that Badeline isn't actually bad. She's just all the parts of Madeline that she considers bad. By the end of the 6th chapter, she learns to accept Badeline as part of herself and levels up, making her ultimate triumph of getting to the summit just a victory lap. The gameplay starts out deceptively simple, with just a run, jump, and dash at first, but as you go along it gets steadily more complicated with all the new mechanics they throw in. You got these flowy rectangles you can fly through, these nasty deadly dust bunnies, these bubbles, and feathers that turn you into a ray of divine light. By the final level, they mush all these concepts together in what you'd think would be overwhelming, but since you've already spent so much time with the mechanics, it's just super satisfying to go through. Not to say it's not difficult though, because this game is hard as nails. You will die over and over and over. The game includes maybe the single hardest level in any video game. The bonus level, farewell.
I consider myself to be pretty good at video games. I mean, I've 100% completed Cuphead for crying out loud, but this level is bonkers. I haven't even been able to beat it, it's so hard. I've already spent countless hours on it with countless deaths. It's just insane.
But difficulty aside, the best thing about this game though is the incredible soundtrack. It might just be the best video game music out there. It's one of those cases of the music fitting into the game perfectly. It matches the tone of the vivid dream in Chapter 2. Madeline's quiet defeat at the start of Chapter 6. And the absolute triumph of Farewell.
God, this game is one of my all-time favorites. If I had to choose a romantic thing for February, it would probably be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
On to March.
The Peanuts movie is the most underrated animated movie of all time. It's got this beautiful aesthetic and this beautiful animation that matches the specials perfectly, but, updates it with it being a theatrical movie and all.
Charlie Brown's got this cute little crush on this cute little red-haired girl. And yes, that is her actual name. They don't give her another one. Of course, because he's Chuck, he can't just go up and talk to her.
Hi, I'm Brown Charlie. Barney Clown.
He tries to get this girl's attention by doing a number of things. Things like winning a talent show, or writing the literal best book report known to man, or winning a dance competition. These things all end up falling through. He didn't get to even perform in the talent show, his book report was cut into bits by a toy plane, and the dance ended up getting rained out. He doesn't give up though. He keeps putting himself through the ringer just to prove to the world that he's more than a screw-up. I'm a little embarrassed to say that I'm inspired by him. Even when the universe is beating this poor kid to a pulp, he just keeps getting up. At the end of the year, the little red-haired girl picks Chuck to be her pen pal for the summer. He gets a chance to ask her why, after all those failures, she chose him. No, Chuck didn't win the talent show, but he did save his sister from utter embarrassment. And Chuck didn't get the gold star for that book report for her, but he did go through the effort of making it, sacrificing an entire weekend. Chuck did lose the respect of the entire school, but he did that by confessing the truth that his perfect 100 on a test wasn't actually his. But hey, he told the truth exactly when he found out. These superficial achievements that Chuck was so focused on weren't the things that actually mattered. It was always the type of person he was that was so remarkable.
So, just remember, in your long and arduous quest to get bitches, just please have more game than Charlie Brown. April! What happens in April? It's got showers? It's got prom, but that's a really crappy movie. It's tax month. Oh, I got it. Everything Everywhere All at Once is my favorite movie of all time.
It starts with a woman named Evelyn trying to file her taxes, and it ends with her discovering the meaning of life. I'm not even gonna try recapping this thing, because it's so wonderfully convoluted. So this movie deals with the multiverse. Basically, the idea that there's a bunch of alternate worlds based on the choices you, or anyone, did or didn't make. There's a reality where Tears of the Kingdom came out in November, and a reality where it's coming out in May. Unfortunately, we live in the May reality, and I hate every second of it. These other realities can range from the simplicity of having a conversation in the car you wouldn't otherwise, to having the entire human race have these frickin' gross sausage fingers because all of the normal-fingered monkeys died out millions of years in the past. Things you're probably already familiar with, but I promise it's important. So the way these characters in the movie travel around the multiverse is by doing something so wildly unpredictable that they get basically slingshotted to an alternate version of themselves. It's hard to explain, but it leads to some insane action scenes. Like Evelyn and this other dude needing to shove this trophy up their ass. You know what, I'm not gonna finish that, but you get it. Evelyn ends up traveling to a universe where she's a martial arts movie star, one where she's in a relationship with a grumpy tax lady, even one where she's a chef, and her rival ends up having a raccoon version of Ratatouille. Raccoony. This movie is just insane, but it's brilliant. Evelyn's daughter Joy ends up being the big bad reality-destroying villain, Jujubee Chichubee? This alternate version of Joy experiences every reality simultaneously. Obviously, that's a lot. With her near-infinite power and nihilistic view of the world, she tries to see what would happen if you put everything on a bagel. Like everything. Like literally everything. She comes to the conclusion that nothing matters. In this creation-destroying bagel, Joy didn't make it to destroy the multiverse. She made it to destroy herself.
Obviously, it's an allegory for depression, and that's part of the reason why this movie is so dear to my heart. But I don't want to say anything more, just in case you haven't seen it, because it'd just be doing a disservice to this wonderful, wonderful movie. May has always been the end of school. The end of school always makes me think of coming of age. And when I think of coming of age, my mind drifts maybe to an unorthodox place.
Adventure Time is about a lot of things. It's about Finn and Jake's brotherhood. It's about the relationship between a 1,000-year-old piece of gum and her vampire demon girlfriend. It's about how life stays in progress even when we don't see it. But more than all of that, it's about Finn growing up. When the series starts out, he's this energetic, happy-go-lucky ball of energy. He gets a good healthy dose of angst when he starts falling in love with a lesbian. The poor guy. He irredeemably screws up his first relationship, goes on a spiritual journey realizing he's grateful for the life he's been working on, and rejects turning into a cosmic entity of unimaginable power.
You know, stuff everyone does growing up.
I'm just hitting all the big points here. There's so many moments and so many seemingly unimportant episodes that contribute to his growth. In the second to last episode of the series, he has this moment with Jake where he reflects on his growth.
Hey, this is kind of backwards, right?
How so?
I used to be all about violence. Now it's like, I'm different.
You're a beautiful flower and I love to watch you grow.
I grew up watching Adventure Time, and Finn grew up along with me, and that's one of the reasons why he's my favorite fictional character of all time. Guess it's just one of the advantages of having a show that runs on for nearly a decade. Lord knows it does not work out 9 out of 10 of the times. June, the prequel to July. That always means the start of summer, at least if you're still in school. And if you're not, L.
These gay fish boys have a firm grip on my heart. It's such a comfort movie. Simply just seeing Luca and Alberto talk with each other is great, and that's why it's so awesome that most of the movie is them just hanging out around town. In the town, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. The art in this movie is without a doubt the best part about it. The dream sequences with Luca and Alberto riding a Vespa next to the big fish in the sky, the lighting in some of the more dramatic scenes, and oh my god, how are the water effects so good? And the animation style is fantastic as well. It is 3D animation, but oftentimes the characters move like they're 2D, and it's fascinating. I'm so glad they used pretty much the same style for Turning Red too, because I am in love with it.
On top of all that, the movie is a pretty blatant gay allegory, no matter what Disney will tell you. 2 boys that have to keep a secret from a town that is notorious for hating them? Yeah, that's some good crap. July, the sequel to June. So of course I have to talk about Gravity Falls. Show's a masterpiece. On to August. Nah, I'm kidding.
Gravity Falls is the quintessential summer show, revolving around the mystery twins Dipper and Mabel as their parents ship them off to backwater town Gravity Falls, Oregon. What they thought was going to be a very boring summer quickly turns into fighting off gnomes, discovering dinosaurs, raising the dead, and most importantly, solving the mystery of who wrote the journals. See, Dipper finds this book in the woods that has a bunch of descriptions of a bunch of weird creatures that are all contained in Gravity Falls. Why do they all live in Gravity Falls? Aliens, maybe? Dipper spends a whole big chunk of summer trying to look for the author, hopefully so he can ask him these burning questions about the nature of the town.
Also, this show is freaking hilarious. How do you come up with something as stupid and nonsensical as the negative $12 bill? And Seuss. Don't even get me started on Seuss, the actual lifeblood of the show. You cannot count the amount of amazing jokes this specimen has. He's also got better editing skills than I could ever hope to have.
Duct tape, wood glue, hey you.
And fun fact, in the original pitch for the show, Seuss wasn't even in it. He's not even in the pilot. I can't imagine the show without him.
I guarantee, if you've been on the internet for any time at all, you've seen this show somewhere before. It's incredibly quotable and memeable too.
I'm just your ex-boy. I'm just your ex-boy. It's like I'm not even a...
It's just a darn good mystery show with incredible characters, great writing, incredible humor, and a fantastic villain. Seriously, Bill Cipher, top 3 villains of all time. It's a concise story, all done in just 40 episodes, and there's not a single bad one in the bunch. Except for you, Roadside Attraction. August! August for me has always meant the start of school, and, you know, at first, it's nice to have something to do after not doing anything for the entire summer, but surprisingly quick it goes back to longingly looking out the school window, wondering what else I could be doing if I weren't there. And nothing has that feeling like Ferris Bueller.
The best thing about this movie is Ferris himself. His fourth wall breaking self-awareness, him never backing down, and most of all, his philosophy of making the most of things. This feeling is what drives the entire movie. Pretty soon Ferris will be in college, separated from his friends. So hey, why should he be wasting his time in school? Why shouldn't he skip and have a blast while he can? Whole movie's just got this attitude of, hey, we're young and there are no consequences to our actions.
Obviously, it's just a little problematic of a worldview, but it makes for a fun movie. On to September. September doesn't have a big theme or meaning to discuss to it, but there is one thing every September that I look forward to, and that's a release of a new Last Kids on Earth book.
These books, These books are so batshit insane, but I love them so much. And most of that love goes to the main character, Jack. He's a happy-go-lucky 13-year-old hyped up on sugar who's seen every TV show, movie, and comic book on this side of the planet. He'd be facing near elder gods, monsters beyond his comprehension, and he'll say, "Oh, so you're like Dormammu." Jack's self-aware perspective on this destroyed Earth is what makes these books so fantastic, and the spin-offs with the side characters prove that by being unimaginably boring. That being said, that's not the only side to him. The third book is about Jack's anxiety that his friends will eventually toss him aside and forget about him. At the end of the book, he has a full-on mental breakdown and nearly destroys the radio that'll help his friends find their families. As a result of Jack consuming nearly every piece of pop culture on the planet, he's self-aware of the tropes that he is now going through. We see a deconstruction of those tropes and a Jack's hero complex as the books go on. It's kind of similar to the Owl House in that way. I haven't even started talking about the plot yet. Here's where the batshit part comes in. I will explain this in the broadest of strokes, but basically, Jack's on his way to school, and he notices these portals opening in the sky. Middle school, am I right? A bunch of monsters come flying through, as well as the zombie virus, so the world kinda goes... Jack spends 9 days hiding in his treehouse, avoiding everything before he goes back adventuring through the mangled town. Jack meets Quint, Dirk, and June. They become family, they defeat monster, they find friendly monsters, then another unfriendly monster named Thrall makes this big tree that eats zombies. Thrall then fuses with the tree, the gang kills it with weed spray, a cosmic general that controls armies of zombies crosses through to the earth, but his consciousness is placed inside of a rat that's also melded with a bunch of action figures. Jack's baseball bat gets infused with zombie-controlling powers. Jack's hand gets sucked by a kraken made of junk and gives him a sticky glove. Okay, this is already way too hard to follow. The events in these books are so complicated that I'm thinking of just making a video attempting to summarize the whole series when the final, I think, book comes out this September.
But yeah, Last Kids on Earth. It's a pretty freaking great book series. Just, please, don't watch the Netflix series. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad! October. Spooky month. There are plenty of movies and shows to pick from. Almost too much. But for me, the answer is pretty obvious. It's Over the Garden Wall. What else could it be? I mean, if you haven't heard of it, what have you been doing for the last couple Octobers?
Over the Garden Wall is a 10-episode Cartoon Network miniseries that's firmly got its hooks in my brain. It's got this great autumn gothic vibe that spills through every episode. It's about these two brothers named Greg and Wirt as they try to find their way out of the mysterious wood of the unknown, all while avoiding the beast. It's got an iconic soundtrack that complements the slightly unnerving nature of the unknown. When you mush the whole show together, it's ultimately a very odd coming-of-age story. Start of the show, the main character Wirt is kind of a mess. He's overly concerned with how people perceive him, full of anxiety at every turn, immediately disasterizing every scenario he finds himself in. Through the show, Wirt learns to trust himself, take risks, and let go of the fear of the unknown. Nearly every episode has the brothers encounter a scary scenario, only to learn that the darkest conclusion they drew from it turns out not to be the case. Or it's the exact opposite, where a sweet thing turns out to be horrifying. The whole show revolves around the concept of the unknown. From the obvious of the setting being called the unknown, to the main villain constantly being unknown by having him shrouded in shadow through the show. The only way Wirt can save his brother and escape the woods is to become sure of himself and see through the beast's lies.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. Just please go watch it. You can trust my opinion. I just spent the last section of this video ranting about a children's book series. Honorable mentions go to Coco for being a sick rendition of Day of the Dead, and Coraline for being the undisputed best Halloween movie. No, you cannot fight me on this. November has always had a very special vibe. The sweater weather and the changing of the leaves, oh, it's just perfect. And nothing captures that feeling quite like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
This movie just exudes warm November energy, from the designs of the character figures to the environments having this warm glow to them, to even the plot. I mean, it revolves around stealing poultry, donuts, and apple cider. It's about as close to a Thanksgiving movie as you can get without it being an actual Thanksgiving-themed movie. It's actually a big reason I wanted to make this video, aside from also counting as my video production final. Wes Anderson movies have always had this very unique style to them. They have so much detail in the shots that make it feel so alive, but the camera movements are so static and flat that it feels almost robotic. It's a very juxtaposed feeling, and it only gets cranked up to 11 with this being stop motion. It's like this whole movie is shot in a dollhouse. Mr. Fox has got this attitude about him that's so confident while also feeling he's just a step away from completely losing control of everything. The movie's got so many quirks to it. Anytime they talk about how Ash is different, they always do this weird hand motion. How anytime the characters would cuss, they just say the word cuss, as well as Kylie's okay signal. It still cracks me up. It's all incredibly quotable. I mean, I just use the word cuss in common conversation now.
Honorable mentions go to the songs Things That Make It Warm by Cavetown and The Moon Song by Beebadoo Badee. Yay! December! Holidays! Christmas cheer! Gingerbread houses! Woo! Let's go! Let's go watch Elf! Let's go to the movie! No. No. That's what's forced down your throat all month. From the aggravating Christmas music, the multitude of awful rom-coms, and the decorations at your local Ace Hardware. Weeks from even Thanksgiving, reminders of Christmas and how you should feel are shoved in your face. Don't get me wrong, I love Christmas time. I love hot cocoa. I love holiday specials for my favorite shows, but more often than not, it just screams artificial. What about this time of year should make me so happy? It's a struggle every December, and the only thing that has ever captured this exact niche feeling is this 30-minute holiday special from 1965, the Charlie Brown Christmas special.
Charlie Brown is disillusioned with the meaning of Christmas, but the people around him have it all figured out. Sally found meaning in presents, Snoopy found meaning in this light contest. Old boy Chuck here tries to find meaning in directing a pageant, but that proves frustrating for him, as well as later on when he tries to find meaning in a dinky Christmas tree. Linus steps up and tells Charlie Brown what the meaning of Christmas was this whole time. Chuck eventually finds meaning in God, which is fine. I mean, it works for him, great, good for him. Just, it doesn't do it for me. I guess I just still have some Christmas issues to work out, obviously, if that wasn't clear. This was the first time the Peanuts kids were animated, except for that one commercial in 1960 where Chuck gives out chocolate cigars to the kids, but you can't tell that they're chocolate cigars, so it just looks like Chuck is giving out cigars to kids for the first minute there. It's confusing. Anyway, first time they were animated, and due to the popularity of this one, it paved the way for countless other Peanuts specials, including the Peanuts movie, but you've already heard me talk about that. The animation and voice acting, though being dated, are charming as all hell. It's got an absolutely iconic soundtrack. I cannot stress enough how great this soundtrack is. My favorite Christmas music ever. And it's just more Barley Clown. And I freaking love Barley Clown.
Honorable mentions go to the song PPP by Beach House for sounding like the So This Is Christmas audio you hear everywhere on social media December time. Hilda for being the coziest show imaginable. And the Series 5 Doctor Who Christmas special for being so cussing fun. So those are my picks for each month. Organizing media like this is like putting songs into playlists, but for everything else. Kind of makes me wish there was a website like Letterboxd to do that for. Hopefully, I've provided some things to watch, play, or listen to in current year moving forward. And also, big thanks to my camera person for helping me out.
Hey, what did we agree on? No faces.
I can edit in post, I promise.
You better.
I will.
Turn the camera around.
Sorry. Now that I'm done with this, I can go back to spending my time wisely by watching Everything Everywhere All at Once for the 6th time. See ya!